and welcome to the SwirlyCast, the only audio show that can be enjoyed by humans and yokai alike, and is the subject of being designed to eat up all of your quarters, because yours are so addicted to watching it. I think. I don't know, do you watch it every day? I mean, it'd be nice, like, those watch hours would be good. Yeah, forgive that. I'm your host, Koma. I decided to spend a few minutes out of your day to come hang out. And with formalities out of the way, what is on the mind today? We are headed to the arcades because we can talk about the all-important video game legend himself and the world-proclaimed main of one Koma in Super Smash Bros. Pac-Man! So, I haven't really talked much about Pac-Man on this channel, have I? So, what exactly do I think of him in general? Pretty good. I like Pac-Man. Not only do I get to throw lots of fruit at people, and it's very fun, but I also like playing some of his games. Honestly, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures is very underrated. Don't at me. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about arcade Pac-Man and how universal it is, and talking about some ways that you can enjoy it. So consider this a semi-sequel / spiritual successor to the Chow Garden episode, but with Pac-Man instead. Good stuff. So what exactly is Pac-Man? Well, he's a yellow guy with a pizza slice taken out. There you go. That's Pac-Man. And what does Pac-Man do? He runs around a maze and eats dots. What does he gotta avoid? Ghosts. How do you beat the ghosts? Glowing balls called power pellets. Turns ghosts blue, you chase them down, you eat them. Bada bing, bada boom, rinse and repeat. That was a thing in 1983. Good stuff, good stuff. And of course, like a dude at a buffet, but like, hey, it's good stuff. I like arcade Pac-Man quite a bit. And there are many different versions of it too. Not only is it super addicting, but it's really fun. So, what exactly makes Pac-Man so universal? Honestly, it comes down to the crux of its game design, which, for early 80s standards, before the video games suffered the great video game crash, thanks Atari, yeah, it's really good stuff. So, it's pretty simple. You got the yellow thing, gotta run around, eat dots, see those ghosts bad, don't touch them. Keep going until you die. Simple as that. And this formula would be the basis of all future versions of Pac-Man to come forward, unless it's Pac-Man World and Ghostly Adventures, but that's a discussion for another time once I've played all those games. But yeah, let's talk about some ways that you can play Pac-Man, because there's more than just the original arcade version by Namco. There is Miss Pac-Man, a bootleg ROM hack that was officially licensed and actually got released on a few different things from Namco themselves. Honestly, I think that's cool, and it's actually a little bit of really good history I would recommend looking up in another video. But aside from that, there's also Pac-Man. But aside from that, there's also different versions like Pac-Man Giant. There's also different versions like Pac-Man Jr., which is another version. I don't know the history of that one, but I would assume that it's a similar fate to Miss Pac-Man. And there's also different versions like Pac-Mania and Pac-Man Arrangement. Pac-Mania is like a Genesis version of the original Pac-Man because it's 3D, has more detailed sprites, and does not look as good and does not feel as good in my opinion. Honestly, if you're wanting to play Pac-Man, I would recommend playing the arcade version, but a version that I would recommend that you play that has a somewhat similar but not really art style is Pac-Man Arrangement. If you're sick and tired of dealing with all the regular mazes, why not throw some gimmicks in there with Pac-Man Arrangement? It gives you some brand new gimmicks to play with, and so it isn't just the same mazes being played over and over and over again. I like this version quite a bit. It offers a lot of unique things to the original Pac-Man formula, while still keeping the original series and its good roots. I want to talk about one more game before we start, talking about a bunch of other stuff too. And that would be the all-knowing, the all-encompassing, all-ultimate challenging game known simply as Pac-Man Championship Edition. This game tasks you with having lightning fast reflexes and allowing you to slow down time so you can avoid ghosts. And if you get power pellets, you can get like a whole heckin' ton of points out of that. And not only is it super addicting for what I've heard, I haven't played the game, but I have seen a lot of it and it looks absolutely crazy and I love it. But it also has a really nice aesthetic. For those of you who don't know me, I adore synthwave. It's like one of my favorite genres of music. And Championship Edition has like an old neon synthwave sort of aesthetic to it. And hey, I dig that hardcore. It's super cool. I recommend giving that game a lot of a try. I haven't played it. I don't know how exactly it plays. It's not going to be like an arcade game because you're not playing it with a stick. You're most likely playing with a joystick. But at the end of the day, it looks solid. I'm pretty sure it feels solid to play. Take my word for it. Go for it. I need to give that game a try myself. I heard a lot of good things about it. So, what exactly have we learned from Pac-Man throughout all these years? Because honestly speaking, this is one of the earliest video games ever created for the arcades, alongside Donkey Kong and a bunch of other games too. Why did Pac-Man of all things stick around whenever it was such a lowly name from the developer Namco? Well, like I said, the game is just pretty universal. It's almost like Tetris in a weird sort of way, because the objective is very simple. In Tetris, you gotta stack blocks in order to clear lines, do the thing, points, and bada bing, bada boom. Pac-Man, grab the dots. There you go. It's a pretty award-winning formula. It's stuck around for this long because it is so universally loved. And like, even if you're not too big into like retro arcade stuff like I am, I'm pretty sure giving at least one version of Pac-Man is a good try. Even if it's something simple like the iOS version, or, and this is a pretty unique one, you can play Pac-Man 256, which is a version of Pac-Man where you gotta run away from a glitchy mess that was caused by a really bad programming error in level 256 of the original game. I'm very happy that they made a version of Pac-Man out of that, and it's very addicting. And it's not the same as the arcade version. Obviously, it's going to be very, very different because you're running away from something and not trying to collect dots in a singular maze. But how cool is that they reference like such a minute detail that it's pretty much become a very famous video game topic that it actually got its own game based out of it. I think that's really cool. And honestly speaking, Pac-Man is so universally loved, and yeah, chances are, if you know video games, chances are you've played the original Pac-Man at least once, or a version of Pac-Man. And if you haven't, what are you doing? Give it a shot. Give one of the Namco museums a go. Championship Edition, or you can be weird and play it on Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures, or you can play it on something else. That's fun. So yeah, honestly speaking, there's a lot to talk about because, well, there's different versions of Pac-Man for everybody. So go ahead and give it a shot. I recommend it wholeheartedly. And with that, this has been Koma, and my friends, fellow viewers, and camaraderies alike. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the SwirlyCast. Until next time, bye bye! And with that, we return to a consistent SwirlyCast schedule. Man, it feels good.